Whispers Unveiled, my terrifying stalker tale. In the heart of the bustling city, I carved out my own space, an ordinary life filled with dreams and daily routines. But soon, that life was invaded by an unsettling presence, lurking in the shadows and watching my every move. At first, it was subtle, a prickling sensation on the back of my neck, a feeling of being watched when no one was there. I'd catch glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye, a fleeting shadow that vanished when I turned to face it. I brushed it off as my imagination, a trick of the light. As days turned into weeks, however, the unease grew. Objects in my apartment seemed slightly shifted, as if someone had been there when I wasn't. I'd hear faint whispers, distant murmurs that I couldn't quite make out. I confided in my friends about my growing anxiety, but they chalked it up to stress or the imagination playing tricks. But this was different. The sensation of being watched became palpable, a weight on my chest that refused to lift. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, convinced that someone was in the room with me. The shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own, and I could almost make out words in those haunting whispers. I sought help from professionals, hoping for answers. Therapists prescribed medication, friends suggested self-care, but nothing seemed to ease the constant sense of dread. I installed security cameras, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever was responsible for my growing paranoia. Yet, the footage revealed nothing out of the ordinary, just mundane scenes of me going about my day. My friends grew more concerned as my behavior became increasingly erratic. I'd hesitate at windows, checking over my shoulder, or I'd jump at the slightest sound. I became a prisoner in my own mind, every corner of my apartment a potential hiding place for the unseen stalker. One evening, as I returned from a therapy session, I felt it again, that cold, clammy dread that gripped me like a vice. The air seemed to thicken, charged with an energy that I couldn't shake. My heart raced as I entered my apartment, every fiber of my being on high alert. And then, I saw it, a figure, a shadow, standing just at the edge of my vision. My breath caught in my throat as I whirled around, but it was gone, melted into the darkness. I fumbled for the light switch, my heart hammering, but there was no sign of anyone else in the room. The feeling of being watched was overpowering, suffocating. I knew then that it wasn't just my imagination. Someone was there, just beyond my sight, and they were watching me. That night, as I huddled in my bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that the boundary between reality and fear had blurred, leaving me at the mercy of an entity I couldn't understand. As the days passed, the relentless presence of the stalker consumed my every thought. I could feel their eyes on me wherever I went, at work, in the grocery store, even in the supposed safety of my friends' apartments. The boundary between reality and paranoia had grown thin, and I was trapped in a nightmarish cycle. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by fitful nights plagued by twisted dreams of being chased through darkened alleyways by an unseen pursuer. My friends, now gravely concerned, tried their best to offer support, but the more I talked about the stalker, the more isolated I felt. Desperation drove me to seek professional help. Therapists prescribed medication, attempting to alleviate my anxiety, but the pills offered little solace. The stalker's presence was no longer confined to the shadows of the night. I'd see them during the day, their form flickering at the edges of my vision, just out of reach. One evening, a knock on my door shattered my fragile peace. My heart pounded as I approached the door, peering through the peephole. There he stood, the stalker, a chilling smile playing on his lips. Panic surged through me, and I reached for my phone, dialing 911 in a trembling frenzy. Minutes felt like hours as I waited, my apartment suffocating in silence. The sirens grew louder, and a glimmer of hope warmed my chest. But by the time the police arrived, the stalker had vanished, leaving only an empty hallway and the weight of my unease. The officers searched my apartment, but they found nothing amiss. They assured me they would keep an eye out, that I should stay vigilant. Their concern was genuine, but the stalker's elusiveness was maddening. As days turned into weeks, the line between reality and fear continued to blur. I began to doubt myself, questioning whether the stalker was a manifestation of my fractured mind. My therapist's explanation seemed plausible: stress, anxiety, even a touch of insomnia. But deep down, I knew this was something else entirely. One stormy night, the sound of a creaking floorboard shattered the silence. Clutching a kitchen knife, I ventured into the darkness, fear gnawing at my insides. Whispers seemed to fill the air, an unsettling chorus that enveloped me in a cold embrace. Lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the room, and there he was, the stalker. His eyes gleamed with a predatory hunger, and a scream tore from my throat as I lunged at him, knife in hand. He crumpled to the ground, photographs spilling from his pocket, pictures of me, captured in my most vulnerable moments, his obsession documented in chilling detail. The police arrived once more, their voices a distant hum as I clung to the knife, my hand stained with the stalker's blood. The storm raged on outside, mirroring the tempest within me. I had finally confronted my tormentor, but the darkness he had woven into my life would linger. The boundary between fear and reality had shattered, leaving me haunted by the obsessions that had nearly consumed me. As the days passed, the stalker's presence slowly faded, leaving behind scars both seen and unseen. I no longer felt the weight of his gaze or heard the haunting whispers in the shadows. But the memories remained, a testament to the fragility of sanity and the terrifying depths of obsession.